Still doesn't have his own license. Boy, he's in deep.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Few housekeeping matters, emergency exits you can see off to the side, as well as out probably one of the doors that you came through. Restrooms are in the lobby area. If you haven't done so already, please sign the attendance sheet. And there are also business cards at the back table, along with the proposed resolutions. However, given that both of the applications had to be referred to the county planning board, we won't be making any decisions tonight, and I'll get into that a little bit later. Please turn off your cell phones or silence them. Also, if you have conversations that do not pertain to the present application, please take it out in the hallway. Otherwise, if you have exhibits and if they're on the screen and you want to refer to them, that's great. Just do your very best to use compass directions or structures instead of, if you notice over here and over there. That makes it difficult that when we go back and look at the minutes, when we see over here and over there, it's a little bit muddied. So use your words, description as best you can, compass directions, structures. If there are new exhibits, let us know that they're new. We'll gladly take a look at them. We're just going to mark them a little bit differently. Also, while you are making your presentation, we will wait for you to finish talking. And if you would, do the same for us. So let's not talk over each other. Again, it creates a bit of a muddy minutes. We like to keep them as clean and neat as possible. With that, we will move along to the next thing on the agenda is approval of the October 2nd, 2023 minutes. Everyone has had a chance to review. I would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
That was Alexis, right?
Yep.
Second?
I'll second.
Matt, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. All right, first is the Balone. Am I pronouncing that right? Balone. Come on up, whoever's making the presentation. Let us know who you are.
I'm John Balone. It's my
John?
wife Sandra. We reside at 378 County Road 9. And we're here to ask about our gates, which we'd like to install.
Yes, so you want to put a gate forward of your principal structure.
Correct.
Send us some pictures and also some other information. So why don't you start, and if you have tell us what you like to see happen, and we're going to ask you questions.
Well, I'd like your approval.
Oh, of course.
Well, mainly for security reasons. During the summer, I've been working at the front of my yard for pretty much every day. And I've noticed a lot of people going north on County Road 9 turn into my driveway because they pass cobblestone. They're going to cobblestone, so they pull into my driveway and they come in 40 or 50 feet. Well, I do have a turnaround circle, so it's convenient for them to turn around and go back out. So I'm trying to avoid that. And some people just pull in 20 feet or so, and then they back out onto the road and, go up the cobblestone and turn in there. So mainly it's to put the gates up would be for security reasons and privacy, I guess.
Okay,
That's, pretty much it.
all right, so we're going to ask you some questions.
Sure.
Before we do, I want to at least explain a little bit how the county planning board referral process works. If you're not familiar with it. Because of the proximity of your residence and the application to County Road 9, intermunicipal law requires us to refer the case to the county planning board
Sure.
for their recommendations. Now, depending on what they feel the gravity of it is going to depend on how we vote. So if they, in their call it wisdom, decide to recommend a denial, we would have to then say it's a majority plus one. So we're a board of 5, so we need 3 is majority, plus 1 is 4 to override their recommendation for denial. Sometimes they just may call it and say, well, here's what we think, but you can vote however you want. That's a completely different animal.
Sure.
And all you would need then is a regular majority, which would be 3,
Okay,
right?
sure.
When is the county planning board going to hear this case?
So November 8th is the county meeting, so our meeting following that would be December 4th.
What we'd like to do, that's December 4th. So what we'd like to do is start to create a record, ask you some questions.
Sure.
And then you come back on the 4th, we'll take a look at what the county planning board had to say, we'll let you know what that is.
Okay,
And then we're probably going to ask you a few more questions and then figure it out whether grant the approval or
Okay.
deny it. Okay?
sure.
So, with that, Fred, got some questions?
Well, I'm not too clear on, on what we're gonna be asked to vote on.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm not too clear on what we're voting on. Drawing, I assume the drawing that was submitted to the town shows the driveway. But that's not the one we're looking at. There's another one that you drew in sort of a concept of. But it's not detailed at all. Is that the only drawing there is of the driveway where the gate's gonna be?
Well, that's what they, like, that's what they wanted to know, where the gates were gonna go, so I'm not sure what you need more than where the gates are gonna go. I gave them a picture of the gates and showed them where they were gonna go. Now, I don't know if you need more detail.
I think what Fred's referring to is there's the engineering drawing, but it's, I don't know if we can flip to it here, but it's hand-drawn over it like another driveway, that.
There's a conflict in the
To the right.
drawings.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay, what you're looking at, can I go up to the board? Okay,
There is a pointer on the podium.
this here?
Yep.
What do I do with it?
If you press the button, it's like a laser pointer. That way you
Oh.
can point to the
Okay, I
screen.
get you. Okay, here we go, okay. This driveway here was the existing driveway when I bought the property. And this structure here was a existing 6-car garage, that's gone. I relocated a driveway to that point there. And mainly because right over here where Cobble Creek Road is, there's a hill, and the cars coming down there are doing 65 all day long. So I moved the driveway, so it gave us, my wife mainly, a better chance of getting out of the driveway without getting killed. So anyways, besides that, I moved the driveway, so my gates are about, I'm gonna say about 60, 65 feet back from the right-of-way. You know, it's maintaining gates right there. Because as they come down the road, they turn in the driveway and come up around and go back out and go back and go make a right onto Cobble Creek, so so we did relocate the driveway, I'm sorry if that was your question.
is there a record of it?
Well, they have it, that the town does. This was a county decision, and they gave me the go-ahead to go ahead and do the change in my driveway.
You haven't, I think what, again, Fred's trying to, and I probably all agree here, do you have an updated survey of what and where that current driveway is?
What you're looking at? Or,
That's somebody's pen that's on.
yeah, I drew that in.
Are you a surveyor?
No,
Okay.
no.
So what we're going to look for is there a survey map that shows that that driveway, from my understanding, the county asked you to do, and the location of it?
The county didn't say anything about the driveway itself, But the right-of-way coming from the road into the property, as far as the main design of the driveway, they didn't ask for any of that. He just says, it was a telephone call. This
Mr.
is,
Balone,
I'm sorry.
so that's a scan of your site plan.
Mm-hmm.
When we did your C of O inspection, did you provide the building department with an instrument survey? And does that survey show the new driveway?
As built, sort of.
Well, one question at a time, I'm sorry. Whatever they, when I came, oh, I'm sorry. If they asked for one, I'm sure we got one.
Do you maybe have a copy of that instrument survey?
could get one for you.
Shows the driveway in the right location?
The one that's in there now,
Right.
yeah.
Is that the one that Andrew did, the architect?
No, Andrew did something else.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
all. I thought it was
No,
there.
my grandson's an engineer, and he helped me, design it and whatever, but
Okay,
if this is what is required, I'm not sure.
We're probably going to give you a few things to.
Okay,
get
sure,
for us
sure.
The next time. So,
Sure.
I'll sit down.
Fred, other questions?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, what was your question?
Have you decided if it's going to be the wing panels or the
Not-
tube?
Not necessarily, because the way the grade is, the grade goes down quite a bit, so I'm not sure if I was gonna put those wing gates on or not. It's more ornamental than anything else. But it wasn't something that I needed to do or not do, so.
And the two posts that are there now are the
Yes.
hinge posts.
They're 6x6,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's all I've got.
Matt, questions?
Sure, so one of them, obviously, is it a fence or is it a structure? We can have that maybe discussion later. For the applicant, I think one thing too is you'll just need to finalize the design, right? So how you want it to, how wide is it gonna be? Is it gonna have do you want it to have what'd you call it, the wings? Yeah, if you want it to have the wings or not, like, so we just need to understand what you're really proposing.
It was optional, it was,
Which option do you pick? Do you want the wings or not?
I don't care. No, I'm not trying to be smart, I'm just saying, if I could, I don't know how it's gonna look with the wings, it might not look good with the wings, so I'm just like, well. if I
Can
don't
you
have the
just
wings-
talk into the microphone, Mr. Balone?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so again, we're not deciding.
I can't hear you,
For-
that's
For
why.
next time, I think it would help to just have even a drawing or something of, if you were looking at the
Well-
fence, how do you want it to look?
What I could do is I could put them up, and then you could see what they're gonna look like. Would that be, because they're the good-size wings and good-size gates, so it's, the gates are in my backyard. So I took pictures of them.
Yep, I saw the pictures.
Yeah, so, but they were upside down. It just happened to be that
Okay.
way. But I could do it, there's gates right now.
Do you plan on motorizing the gates, or,
That's
because the pictures you
that's-
sent were
that-
motorized gates too, and so it's,
That's questionable.
Yeah.
Probably not, I'll be honest with you, just because I just don't see what. We go to Florida in the wintertime for about 3 months. So, but even at that, I don't think I'd close them because in case of a fire or whatever, snow plowing. So probably just on weekends when we're not there for like maybe a long weekend, I would close them and just for privacy. But
and how far from the road will they be?
I think it's I think it's 65 feet.
So 65 feet won't really, I know when you started, you talked about people coming in and kind of doing a K-turn, and it's really not going to prevent that, right? I mean, it'll
No,
prevent
it's
people
not.
from going,
I push the
around the
gates back
roundabout.
enough for 2 cars to come in and be off the road. So you could open up the gates and come into the property. But no, it's not going to prevent that at all.
So
But
what's
it's
the-
going to prevent people from coming in and going around a circle and coming back out. That's, especially in the wintertime when the conditions aren't such where they want to back out into the road. They figure, well, it's plowed, let me go up around the house and turn around and come back out. So, there's a lot of ways, I guess, all depends on the person that's going to be driving and how comfortable they feel.
Sure. I was just trying to
Yeah, no, I know
understand
what you're
the
saying.
problem that you're trying to solve.
No, it's not to prevent people from, coming in, even in the wintertime, I don't know, I mean, I've seen accidents and people hitting deers and whatever, it's a 55, and I'd like to get that changed if I could. Next will be my next project, get that speed limit lowered, because, let me tell you, they're doing 60, 65 all day long on that road. There was a sheriff's car there about a week ago monitoring the traffic, but it's just what it's, you pull out of my driveway, I mean, you can't go 65 miles an hour. And they're on your butt, I mean, until you get to Valentine Road, and that's where I usually make a left on Valentine to go. And they're doing 65, and they're on your flashing their lights or beeping their horns, I don't know what to say,
Sure. I'm just trying to figure
No,
out.
no, no.
And I think you made the right decision to move the driveway in a little farther for safety and all that. I'm just trying to get at
Yeah.
how much having a variance for this particular fence or structure is really gonna help, right? Is it a nice to have, or is it something you absolutely have to have because,
I would like to have it for privacy. That's not gonna prevent people from coming into my driveway and banking out. That's not the reason I'm putting them up. It'd be more for privacy and security more than privacy, I guess.
but for the most part, it sounds like it's gonna be open most of the time.
Oh, definitely, yeah, it's gonna be open 95% of the time.
So that kind of throws the privacy thing out. In other words, I'm trying to
Well,
figure out if it's gonna be
But
open.
I do have that option. I do have the option to close it. It's like having a gun and not, you got the gun, but you're not gonna use it.
I'm just wondering other ways. So you're saying, so the 5% of the time, is it for when you're not home, I think you said down in Florida or somewhere else? Is there another means, you put up some road cones, or you put up something else that just makes it clear that? I'm just trying to explore all other options. It's not the
Yeah.
prettiest looking thing, but are there other options
I
you can
had
do to?
I had road cones on that property for 3 years when I was doing the construction. Everybody thought it was a racetrack. So there's a lot of ways you look at everything. But, again, I think the fence, or the gates, I should say, will be more of a deterrent, more so than somebody saying, okay, let me just drive in and drive around and come back out. It just, I don't know, for us, I mean, we're up in age, and I think it's a mental thing, having that security.
What I'm just trying to get at is maybe what's unique about your situation versus everybody else that has a driveway and might want to put a fence across it.
Well, I did take pictures of 4 driveways, I think, on the road that have gates. There's one of them right there, well, there's all 3 of them right there. They're within a mile north and south of my property. And as you can see, that's, the one, that one there's been there since 1960. No, I'm sorry, this one here's been there since 1960. This one here is going to the winery. I'm not sure if you know what that is.
Yeah.
You know what okay, that goes into winery, that one there. This one goes into, what's the property down there? The guy passed away, had a heart attack. Not Galdesano, his partner. Who's it? Policini, I'm sorry, thank you. Policini's gates.
Quick note, that one's in Monroe County.
Understood.
The reason why I say that is
Go ahead.
because Monroe County is a whole different set of rules. So,
Understood.
all due respect, that one doesn't count.
I didn't realize that until I think I talked to somebody on the board, that it was, I didn't know it was Monroe County, but there's a sign there. But, it's there, so, I don't think when people drive by and say, oh, that's Monroe County, that's okay. So, not,
It matters here.
for you, right, that's it,
We
yeah,
look at things that happen,
right.
changing the character of the neighborhood
Right.
in Victor, not
Okay.
Monroe County, not
Okay.
Pittsburgh,
Understood,
Canada,
understood,
just Victor.
understood.
Okay?
Sure. But, okay, these 2 are in, I guess, Victor or Ontario County, these 2
The other
here.
one probably, the first one you said in the 1960s, that
That's what she said.
predates the code, at least the code we're working with.
Okay.
So I think might be looking at 1.
Again,
Okay.
I brought that up because that's what they did, I was told, 19,
It's
it's
important.
grandfathered in.
It's important for us to figure out what the current backs are,
Right,
right?
Right,
pin them down so we can understand them.
sure. I completely understand.
I'm good with questions for now.
Alexis?
I don't have any questions. I think the application's fine as is, and I would vote in favor if we were voting tonight.
Thank you.
Leah?
I don't have any questions either, but I get exactly your point, why you want it there. And I get it, some people will come up, right up to the house and drive through your circular drive. I've seen it where I used to live, right across the street from me, and it was not a big property like yours. It was right off the street, and some people will drive through that circular drive. And the reason why, if it's approved, you should keep it closed most of the time, is for your own safety. You can be in the yard and somebody's coming 60 miles an hour and run over you, because I saw that across the street from me, and that was, thank God nobody was there, but that's dangerous.
Yeah, well, this summer, to your point, I was working out, doing a whole bunch of stuff out in the yard, and I had people coming up and want to know who did the stonework, who did this, who did that, and it just, they were good people, just curious about, who the contractors were and stuff, and, I'm working, I'm not paying attention, people just drive up and they're out of their car, I mean, it's, who do you know who's who today? You say, is he a good person or a bad person? I don't know. Are they there to harm you, or are they there to say hello?
Yeah.
So I think mainly with my wife, I'm in and out of the house a lot, and she's home quite a bit, so I think I might close the gates. If I were to leave and I knew she was to be there all day, and I didn't expect anybody, I probably would be quite honest with you, I would probably close the gates, not lock them. Well, I would lock them, but not lock them, just a hasp over them. To be quite, because it's scary when you look at the 11 o'clock news every night. You just don't know. And
It can happen anywhere.
exactly, that's what I'm saying, you don't have to be in the hood for something
No.
like that to happen, so.
No.
Maybe at night I would close them, I don't know. To be honest, with you, I'd say to be open 95% of the time, but maybe at night, say, we're going to bed at 9 o'clock today, walk down there, close the gates, tomorrow morning I'm gonna open them. Am I getting into that habit? It's like locking your front door every night, or closing your garage door every night. It's a habit type thing, I think going to bed, I would maybe feel more secure with those gates being closed, okay? Not saying they can't be open, but, you just feel mentally relieved.
And also, another thing I'm thinking of, again, if the application is approved, keeping it closed, because if somebody loses control of their car and starts coming through, at least that gate stops them a little. I
don't know
mean,
if
some of these things, hopefully won't happen.
I don't know if the
but-
gates would.
Sorry, Leah, sorry. Safety's not an issue here, right? We looking at the criteria.
My safety is an issue, my wife's safety is an
Okay,
issue.
but let me
Okay,
finish.
sure.
All right. For granting of an area variance, there's criteria, and if you fill in an application, briefly, is it going to change the character of the neighborhood? All right? Just let me run through them quick. Is it going to change the character of the neighborhood? Is it significant? Is it going to have an environmental impact? Is there another way, a feasible way for you to accomplish the goal without a variance? And is it self-created? So of those 5 criteria, safety really isn't discussed in that. That's not,
I guess it all depends how what's safety mean to you?
we can have a debate over
Right,
safety.
exactly.
But outside of the confines of your application, safety's important. Call the sheriff if you think people are speeding on that road. But that's not the issue here.
I
The issue
understand,
is
but-
you're asking for an exception to the rule. That's a variance, right? And as I explained to you, those criteria are going to be evaluated. Now, if you're not sure about how any of that works or how that applies, we can't give you legal advice. So I encourage you that if you have an attorney, or you may need to see counsel, say, I don't understand this, could you help me? Talk to legal counsel, and they'll walk you through it. This is important stuff. This is something that you want, something for your property, and if it's done right, you probably got a better chance of getting what you want. but if it's creating gray areas and not really keeping to the point, you might not like the answer that you're looking for. You follow me?
Not really.
Okay,
No, I'm not.
let me try a different way.
So you're, no, excuse me, just one, so I better understand what you're saying. You're saying I should seek counsel?
That's completely up to you. Looking at the criteria, when your application, do you still have a copy of it?
Did I see a copy of it?
Do you have a copy of your application?
No, I do not.
The back table with the resolutions, the criteria are listed on the resolution back there if you'd like to look at them, but it's the 5 questions that
Oh,
you
yeah,
answered on
yes,
your
yeah, I'm
application.
familiar with it.
So if you, I encourage you to take that.
Okay.
Look at it, so when you come back, 'cause those pieces, the criteria, those 5 criteria, we have to look at that. And we have to fill in the blanks for what's called justification. The facts that apply to, for example, is it going to change the character of the neighborhood? And we would vote on it, yes, it will, no, it won't. We just can't say yes or no. We have to put some reasoning behind it. Is it significant? Yes, no. Reasoning behind it. And as you go through that criteria, safety is never a discussion about it.
I'm surprised.
That's the
just-
law. I didn't.
No, I know, I'm just saying, safety, I would think would always be the first criteria of,
Well, I mean, at the end of the
That
day,
was-
if the only thing is, well, I just feel safer because of it, what does it stop you from doing, right?
I'm sorry.
I mean, if people could just come in front of us and say, I feel safer with this gate or fence or 20-foot tall wall, should that just mean you get it? Right, it doesn't make it right, or that there isn't a better way that's more within character of the neighborhood, and that's what we're trying to get at, is the,
You know, and
is
I-
it the right fit? Is there something unique? And so why I was asking what's unique about your situation, because again, if, I live in a development, I got a 60-foot long driveway.
Right.
You know, if I came in front of this board and said, well, I want a fence or a gate in front of my house to feel safer, you know, that's just
Understood.
not the trump card that says, oh, you get it because you'll feel safer. I have to prove, all right, it's within character of the neighborhood. No one within 500 feet, you know, has a
Right.
negative opinion for or against about it. It's not substantial, or it's not in a right of way. Like, so there's other things. And so safety isn't really something we evaluate. So if the only thing you have is that it's safety, it's just a tougher sell. I recommend, like Mike said, go through the 5 criteria and just have a response, right? Or work
Then I
with
did.
counsel and have a response
I
on.
think you did it at
Submitted
the
it already.
office.
We have it here.
I did
What
that.
my concern is you keep drifting back into safety, and we have to ignore that. I understand it's important to you.
Yes, it is.
I
saying
absolutely
it,
understand it.
Yeah.
But that's not a relevant fact that we can consider when granting or
Okay.
denying a variance.
Okay,
Your better discussion is, there are other fences in the neighborhood. Now, how we look at that.
The first one.
That's something
But
different.
here, the issue,
It counts, it
We
matters.
answered it, said it's safer.
well, okay, another point which I'd like to explore on is that, okay, my house is in the middle of 4 acres. And I don't have neighbors, nobody can see me. At night, you can't see my house, you can't see anything. So for somebody to walk into my property, and I'm not saying gates would can deterrent those people, but I'm just saying, if I don't have a gates, you're more or less welcoming people to come in because there's no, there's no deterrent there. And if I was, we came from Highland Green, we lived up in Highland Green, and, 20 feet, I had a neighbor. 40 feet across the street, I had people, people constantly looking out their windows, so you had a lot of protection. I don't have that.
All right.
That-
I
Here's a good
just say-
example.
So safety to me, I hear a noise in my house, I kind of like, oh, what was that?
All right, so there's a good example. You lived in Highland Green?
Yes.
Do you think that, just hypothetical, if you put the same structure, the gate, the 5x5 pillars in the front of your property, do you think that would change the character of the neighborhood there?
I didn't need to.
and I just.
Yes or no? It would. Just
Well, yeah, but I didn't need to. I never had gates in my life.
Okay, go ahead, Alexis.
No,
maybe-
but I'm not trying, no, I'm not trying to
I'm
say.
doing my very best, and.
I know, and I'm trying to because it's our safety, and I know safety to maybe people doesn't make any difference. To me, that's why I moved the driveway, because of our safety. Cost me a lot of money to do, but you know what? I didn't put a price on my wife's life, or my life. So I says, you know what, whatever it costs, it costs. I want to be there, I want to be safe. And that's all. I mean, I put a lot of money into the house, and I didn't think the gates would be a big deal. I'd be quite honest with you. I didn't know I needed a variance, I didn't know a lot of things I didn't know, but, I mean, I guess it's a big deal. I mean, I think the property came out beautiful from what I bought it from, so now I think a set of gates is being blown out of proportion, but that's my opinion. But,
I just like to say, it seems like, Mr. Lone, you have an issue. The issue is that people drive up your driveway. They're going all the way up to turn around in the circle of your driveway. That makes you feel unsafe. But your issue at heart is that people are driving all of the way up to your driveway, turning around in the circle. Safety is a feeling. Now, you've already proven that you don't believe that this would be out of character of the neighborhood because there are already gates in the neighborhood. And tonight we've already established one of the gates is in Monroe County, but two of them are there. You live on a very rural road. Matt brought up here next to me that he lives in a residential neighborhood. I too live in a residential neighborhood. If you put a gate in front of my house, probably wouldn't stop people walking up to trick or treat at my house because I live 10 feet away from the road and my neighbors are 5 feet away from me on each side. But you live on a very rural road. It's not out of the character of the neighborhood, which you've already, tried to point out. You've already pointed out here too that, you really couldn't get this from another feasible way. Someone brought up, cones to put in front of your house, although I'd say that cones would pretty much be really, really out of character of the neighborhood rather than a fence, which would be more in character with the neighborhood. You've said that the area variance is substantial. You do want to, put something in front of your house, which you've put in your application. You don't feel that it has any sort of environmental impact, which I probably wouldn't think either. If a squirrel's gonna jump the gate, it's gonna jump the gate. And your alleged difficulty here is, self-created. You have a long driveway, you have a big turnaround. So I think we've already gone through everything here. Safety is a feeling, it's not part of the criteria, but he's already addressed the criteria here, and he's brought it up multiple times. So I don't think security and harping on it continuously from the board really makes sense, because it's a feeling.
it is.
Feeling safe or not, but you've also, in addition, just already gone through your application, both in your application and here tonight, brought up all of the points that you think make your application viable.
Thank you, you explained it very well.
Thank you.
Hey, Mike, go ahead.
Other things that you could do.
I'm sorry, Mike, I can't hear you.
I'm exploring other things that you can do to accomplish preventing or deterring people from using your property. Put up any no trespassing signs? Have you thought about that? Look, I'm
No, I'm laughing. No,
trying, I'm not making a joke.
No,
What I'm trying to do is
Mike,
create a set of facts
Please,
here.
Mike,
Let me finish, if
Go
I
ahead.
could. I wasn't
Go.
interrupting you.
no, I'm sorry.
What I'm trying to do is create a set of facts so that this board can make a well-rounded, thorough, reasoned decision. If we don't explore this stuff, we're not doing our job.
Mike, the only reason I was laughing is because when you said private property, I back up to the 5th green on the golf course and constantly had golfers coming into my property looking for their balls. Okay, so probably this couple months ago, I went to Home Depot, bought private property signs, put them on 5 of the trees. There was no deterrent. She saw a lady come in my drive, or come into my backyard, came up 40 or 50 feet, almost to my house. I mean, so people don't read signs. People will stop at a gate. And I just, that's what it is. But I know what you're saying about private property. It doesn't work. Only because I've gone through it with golfers. If they're gonna go after a ball, they'll come after anything. So I rest my case, I guess.
But I'm going to take that as a no, You haven't put no trespassing signs on the
My
drive.
back lot I did.
Let me try again.
Go ahead.
I'm not talking about your backyard.
Yeah,
The issue here is your driveway.
right.
Are there no trespassing signs?
No.
No, okay,
No.
that's it.
No.
We're good. Anyone for the public want to speak for or against the application? Awesome, good. So what we need from you, though, is an updated instrument survey
Okay.
that shows where the driveway is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you said that garage has since been
Oh, yeah, it's gone.
gone. So an updated instrument survey would reflect that where the driveway currently is, where the garage is gone, and then if you would put the proposed location of where the, there's currently some structure there, right? There's two posts,
It's 6x6 posts.
6 posts.
Right.
So have that location, then we can figure out how close it is to the road, how far it is from the home, and we'll have a much better idea on how to deal with it.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
good.
All
Are we
right,
good
thank you
with
for your
structure or a
time.
fence? Do we need to have that discussion?
I think we're working from a structure. Because it seems that you have, the issue, what we were trying to figure out is whether or not it's a fence or a structure. But you have 4x4 posts, you have wrought iron metal gate, and then wings that are going to go off to the side, so.
There's 6x6 posts.
I just can't hear you when you're not
I'm
speaking.
sorry, I couldn't hear you. There's 6x6 posts in concrete, and they're at 16 foot apart, and the gates are 14 and a half feet, approximately 8 foot each gate. And the wings would go on the other sides of the 6x6.
So again, the instrument survey is going to help us quite a bit on where is the current structure? Where are those posts in relation to the road, in relation to your home? All right, and then that garage being gone. So something that is up to date as possible and more current than the one we're looking at.
Okay. Well, the garage has been gone for, there was some out sheds too that were gone. There was an existing farmhouse that was there that's been demolished.
I understand it.
Oh, okay,
Something current.
okay.
Instrument survey from a licensed engineer that shows all of those things
Okay.
as they exist today.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Perfect.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Is
Thank
that
you.
it? Okay,
set.
thank you.
Yep, thank
You
you.
have a good night.
You too.
Not much of a structure, is it? A little bit of a structure, but not very
I
much.
think it fits what Adam had was looking into. It fits better into the definition of a structure as opposed to a fence. Hadlock, thanks for your patience. Come on up.
I'm
All right.
Terry Dacey.
Hi, Terry. So real quick on the front end, same thing with County Planning Board. Do you know how that works?
No,
Okay, so much like what we told the prior applicant, because of the proximity to State Route 96, the law requires us to refer it to the County Planning Board for, lack of a better term, their 2 cents, their opinion. Signage, they're going to have more to say about signage than they would a fence. Can't predict what they're going to do. Again, if they recommend a denial, then to get a variance approval, you need a majority plus 1. We can't decide on it today. It's going to be the same December 4th.
4th, yep.
So we're going to do the same thing, try and create a record here, get as much information as we can, listen to your application, we'll ask some questions, have you back on the 4th, review the county planning board decision, and then figure it out.
okay,
All right?
yep.
Go ahead.
So this fall, we decided before winter to clean up the building. We painted it, and my son suggested that we improve the appearance of our sign, which is almost 40 years old. So we painted it, and we made it smaller. We moved a Benjamin Moore logo, which had been below what was Bayless Furniture, and they're long gone. Moved it up and attached a new compliant Benjamin Moore logo that they've gone from white to red over what was Bayless Furniture. And then we were informed, after many years of having the Benjamin Moore logo there, that the town of Victor doesn't allow logos. So here I am. That's all it is.
Okay. Alexis, questions?
How did we get the application if it'd been there for so long?
The sign has been there for, I think we've been there about 38 years.
Yeah.
And the sign is, so the sign on the right, originally that was it. It was us and Bayless built the building. And I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, he added many years ago the word Leather House. And then he agreed, he said, well, why don't you put a Ben Moore sign over it? So we did. And then this fall, Bayless is long gone, they're out of business. So prior to after that photo on the right was taken, we painted over his name because he's gone. And it was just that, and it looked kind of stupid with this big blank red spot. So we made the sign smaller, painted it. We've gotten a tremendous number of compliments on it. Put the flowers out there, and in the spring we're going to plant permanent bushes underneath it. And so we just took the Benjamin Moore sign, which is no longer compliant with them. It's white, supposed to be red now, and just moved it up and put it over Bayless's name. So in the process, made the sign smaller.
Okay. So did somebody from the town reach out to you?
Yeah, he stopped by and said, you can't do that, after
Did we
we had
get a
done it.
complaint?
No, it was an observation. They had updated their sign, and it required permit based on the code.
But
So they don't.
they didn't need a permit for the previous sign?
I'm
so
sure
there's-
we had
There's no
one.
record in their file for the original Benjamin Moore sign.
So they didn't,
There's sign permit applications for other signs. There
Yeah.
was a dress store, something like that a long time
For a very
ago.
short time.
Sure. So all that stuff was in the file, but there was no record of the Benjamin Moore sign, right? So,
Yeah, at the time when Bayless put up the Leather House sign, I assume he didn't do anything, and I know we didn't do anything when we put our Ben Moore logo over it. We didn't know we needed to.
okay.
And it's been there for, my son thinks, about 10 years.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the application or the sign or anything. I was just curious about like how, I guess we even got here, if you had had it for so long, why you got a comment
All we've
now.
gotten is compliments. So,
Nice.
Yeah,
I like
the-
the flowers.
the way that the code reads, when they update a sign that's not compliant, it's supposed to come into compliance, requires a permit. So we don't need to receive a complaint if somebody needs a building permit.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I was just curious how we got it, because I wasn't sure how, usually it's a complaint, or I wasn't sure if we're,
And in my application, I included that I'm required to have Benjamin Moore's name as part of a program of which I am a participant in. Now, that being said, there are towns that will push back on that, as obviously you are, but I included in it the page from Benjamin Moore's contract that states we are required to have their name, their logo on the exterior of our building.
okay. I don't have a problem with it. If we were up for a vote, I'd vote for it yet today, but we'll be here next month.
And our biggest competitor up the street is Sherwin-Williams with their name across the front of the building with a logo, the Cover of the Earth logo on their sign. They are our biggest competitor.
I think the difference, right, is it's allowed when it's on the building versus monument sign, right? I think, right,
So Benjamin Moore is advertising a brand for sale. Sherwin-Williams is the name of the store. So I had a conversation with you. I told you it was a unique situation.
Well, we reference car dealers.
Right.
Victor, Dodge, Ram, Jeep, those are logos.
Right.
Every Chevrolet dealer is a logo.
Right, and those are approved as part of their planning you know, so it's a different path that they took.
Yeah, I have an Ace Hardware store in Pittsford.
Right.
My corporate name is Hadlock Hardware LLC. My building says Ace Hardware. That's a logo.
So but here isn't necessarily the issue that it's a graphic logo. It's that it's Benjamin Moore, right? It's not that
Correct.
it's a
The logo
not that it's a
doesn't have
picture.
anything to do
Yeah,
with it.
okay.
It's that you're advertising a brand for sale, which is prohibited by our code.
Right, we had,
But how is that different than a car dealer? They're advertising Victor Dodge, Ram,
Well,
Jeep.
but like he said,
Yeah.
they've gone through an approval process, much like
yeah.
you're going through an approval
Right.
process.
Okay.
That resulted in a positive outcome for you.
Okay, okay.
We'll all figure out
Okay.
if it results in a positive
Okay.
outcome for you or not, and some it does, some it doesn't, everything is unique, so.
Okay.
Where are we? Alexis, Leah,
Also.
questions?
The two signs that we have the photos of, is it the same sign and you just, okay.
So
I
there's
wasn't
6
clear
screws
before.
that are holding the Benjamin Moore logo over what underneath says Bayless Furniture. Obviously, we flipped it. Yes.
Right, yeah.
It'd be kind of foolish to,
And what happened to the building number? That was
I
on-
took it off.
You took
I
it-
can put it back on, but I like the sign smaller rather than bigger. Usually, you know, people don't make things smaller. And I'm happy to put it back on, or what I would prefer to do, if, you know, you allow, is to just put big numbers on the, over my door or somewhere on the front of the building,
And
for both parties in the building, so.
And are you planning, if it's approved, are you planning to illuminate
No.
this? No, okay.
There's no electricity up there, and solar panels would not be real effective.
Okay. That's the only question. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Matt, questions?
What's the, and so I could think of at least one other case where we've had a business that within inside of it had a product line that was, that wanted to also have signage on the exterior. That particular case, we denied for things unique to that. Is that the relationship here? Is Benjamin Moore, they're not the, you know, you're the business, so Headlocks LLC or Headlocks, whatever, is the,
That's my hardware store's Hadlock Hardware. Yeah.
sorry.
Hadlock Paint.
Headlock Paint, you're-
Yes.
is its own entity, is the leaseor of the building,
Benjamin Moore dealers across the country are all independent.
right? And is Benjamin Moore the only product line that you have from a
The only
paint
paint line I
perspective?
sell, yes,
Inside?
yes. I am also the largest Benjamin Moore distributor in the United States. So I have a special relationship with them.
Cool, very cool. So I'm just trying to get at what might be unique here in terms of, I know you've got this contract, although it is a little vague when I read it about, are they really forcing you to have an exterior sign, right? It's a little bit of a gray area. But we get an awful lot of businesses that really want to have, right, signage for product lines that are within their entity.
So my two biggest competitors are Sherwin-Williams, PPG. Their name on their building tells you what they say. What they sell. And I'm at a serious disadvantage not being able to convey to people what we sell.
Is that because of the name of the business that you chose?
Because I'm not owned by Benjamin Moore, or you would let me put Benjamin Moore in my building.
Has there been any negative impact to the business because before you didn't have Benjamin Moore on there? I mean, what's the,
He's always had it.
Well, it's been there for a long time. I'm not sure exactly how long it's been there.
so the Benjamin Moore on the first one was also there for 10 years
Yeah, but the sign itself is like 38 years old or however long.
with Benjamin Moore on it before?
No, we added it maybe about 10 years ago.
Okay, but for 10 years, it's had Benjamin Moore on it. Okay, I get that.
Yes.
I didn't understand that before.
And in doing so, it has a significant impact on what we pay for paint.
In 10 years, I'm looking at code enforcement, 10 years ago, when did the signage code change? It changed right around then, right? Because this be a previously existing non-conforming type of scenario?
I don't
think it
have
was prior
exact
to that.
knowledge of when that was put up.
I'm just, I mean,
It
from
was
my
Leather
perspective,
House for a long time. and,
Yeah, I'm
you
just
know,
saying if that sign, which I would argue, say is almost identical to the new one that you put there, just inverted the color.
Yeah, I mean, if I had
Considering
to-
it previously existing
You know, if I had to, I could put the
non-conforming,
white one back on it,
be-
over it, you know, but.
the only thing you really did is obviously reduce the size of it, you took out bales. Now, if somebody else comes in to that building,
There is someone in there, and he has no interest in the sign. That's why we did what we did. So we asked him first, do you want your name, or at any point, will you? And he's not open to the public. His doors are locked, so he says, no way. I don't want to draw any attention to us.
you own the building?
I own my part of the well, my sister owns my part of the building, and he owns it. It's set up as a condo.
Okay.
So I don't own what is formerly Bayless Furniture.
Okay.
2007.
Was the new?
Yeah, so it's definitely since.
Yeah, it
then.
was the orientation of the code, or origination, and there's no amendments noted.
Okay. I'll yield my time. I guess just to me, maybe with this particular one, somehow it's been there so long, it's within character of the neighborhood, whether it was previously existing but non-conforming.
We've been around for
And
103
you've
years.
reduced the size of, I mean, to me, if you would be okay with continuing to have the size of the sign not get any larger than it is
Absolutely.
today.
I wanted to make it smaller. That's why I took off the number on top. We wanted it to be attractive. And as I said, we've gotten many, many compliments from it. You know, as we wanted, so we painted the building and all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good for it.
I think, I'll yield to Fred in a sec, but I think it's dangerous it needs to be confirmed whether or not it's a non-conforming pre-existing condition, or if it's been there. Just because it's been there a day, a week, 10 years, if it violates the code, it still violates the code. There's no, it's been there forever.
Understand.
Right? So I think what we need to look at, and Matt, if you could, because we got some time here, is to figure out whether that sign, the white one with the red, was or is a non-conforming pre-existing condition, or if it's just been there and it just.
It was not there back to 2007, that I'm sure.
Did we get that confirmed on whether or not that original sign, the white one, if that pre-existed, and if it was, when it was originally put up, if it complied with the code? Because I think that would clear up so many different
His
things.
point is that there's no permit, so he has no idea when it was put in.
It's not in the record, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Nor can I give you any.
Right.
I'm guessing. you
I'm
know,
basing it
yeah.
off of the timeline that
Yeah.
he's providing, and that would be more recent than the initiation of the fence, or the sign code, excuse me. I searched the record to see if there was a variance before I recommended him to come to the zoning board.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there were sign permit applications, but none of them included the Benjamin Moore
No,
part of
there's
the sign.
definitely not one made.
Okay, that helps, thank you.
No, that was between me and Alan Brandt, you know, when he put Leather House up, and then he said, you know, put your Benjamin Moore sign over it, so it's,
Code enforcement, because it is two separate parcels, if they are like business condos, are they each allowed to have their own monument sign?
So the original monument sign predated the existing sign code. Okay, so Bayless and Hadlocks is fine. When they changed the sign, all right, it required a permit because the sign that they were changing didn't meet current code. So then that sign is now required to come into conformity. So you have to look at everything about that sign, whether it's pylon or monument or the advertising, the brand. In my research of the file, that original development was approved as Hadlocks Plaza. So in my opinion, was Hadlocks could remain because that is the name of the plaza. That's up to you guys that's just an opinion. So, that's kind of how we got to where we're at now.
As per the code, it should just literally be a Hadlocks Plaza,
Yeah, can I
no
just?
directory.
Correct.
Yeah, so I was 20-some years old when we built this building. We started building the building with the intention of renting out to other tenants the space that we're in now across that front. Our store was going to be where Bayless was, facing 251. That was the plan. The building was under construction, so it was solely being built by Hadlock Paint. So that may be in your paperwork where Hadlock Plaza came from, because there was no Bayless.
Right.
So we had basically just the frame of the building up when Bob Brandt came to us and said, how much space you're renting out? And coincidentally, the space that he wanted was exactly what we were going to use, so we just reconfigured the building. It's also why the building looks ridiculous, and that it looks like our warehouse goes all the way through his store, and it does. It's because that's where we originally were going to be, and then we moved down the 96 side and gave him that while the building was under construction. But initially, my father built the building by himself. So that's where the Hadlock Plaza name came from. But before anybody, it was occupied, it was Hadlock and Bayless, and all the legal work to make it two separate owners. So.
But
I don't think this is substantial. And how could the sign be there all those years and the town not draw it to the applicant's attention? Because he made it smaller, or
We made it look better.
giving him a
We cleaned
hard
it up.
time? Seems backwards. It used to be another, instead of a Benjamin Moore, was it ever something else?
Yeah. So originally Bayless Furniture added a leather department and called it Leather House. So where the white Benjamin Moore was a black and white sign that said Leather House. And then he said, I don't really care about that. So he said, go ahead and you can have that space, and we put a Ben Moore sign on it. Not thinking we needed any kind of permit or whatever, because he already had a Leather House sign on it for I don't know how long.
On the building.
On the sign.
Oh.
And the building, yeah, no, he put it on the building too, yeah.
I don't have any more, because it's coming back.
Adam, I understand, even for the applicant to ask for the Benjamin Moore to go on the building itself, same issue.
Yeah, the code doesn't differentiate. It just says prohibited signs, signs which permanently advertise a particular brand that a business offers for sale.
And that counts for posters in his windows, anything Benjamin Moore, anywhere on the building, in the windows, on the sign. Code says needs a variance.
Correct.
Even a poster in the window?
Uh,
I didn't think those were considered signs.
It's a window sign unless it's under a certain size. The code's pretty specific as far as that goes. Do they exist? Yes. To her point, as far as receiving complaints versus code enforcement saying, okay, this is something that requires permit, with the history of the amount of sign variances that have been requested on 96, it's important for us to try to stay on top of those things when they happen, or else everybody will. So,
Right. So anything that you have, like an old photograph, anything that shows that picture, that shows Benjamin Moore has been on that sign for more than 10 years.
Yeah, that's all I have is that one photo, yeah.
I think the board is, at least I had the feel of it, it's been there. Even though you don't get grandfathered in, right? if it's been there for quite a while, it's going to be hard to make an argument. Say,
Yeah,
how is it changing the character of the neighborhood?
Yeah, you know, it was my son's guess that that's how long it's been there, but
More than 10 years?
no, probably about 10. But like you said, 2007, I'm telling you, it hasn't been up there that long. So if the rules changed in '07, that was put up after the rules changed. There's no question about that.
All right. Anyone from the public want to speak for or against the application? Hearing none. Okay, so if you have anything for us, any questions for us?
Can I
Anyone
ask
have-
one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I think you mentioned your top sales for Benjamin Moore.
Yeah.
What brand do you think is more important for you? Is it customers find you because you're Hadlock's House of Paint, or you think they pull in because they see Benjamin Moore?
That's a really good question. You know, we've been in
To be
business.
honest, I've been here for 20 years,
Yeah,
almost, and I've always gone there and known it as Hadlock's House
Yeah,
of Paint.
you know-
If you would have asked me whose paint you sold, just one man's opinion, I would have had no idea.
we,
Even though the sign's been
I
there
do.
for
I'm
for
going to
almost
beg to
10
differ, because I would, I
But
do.
I know it always is Hadlock's.
I know that Hadlock sells Benjamin Moore.
Yeah.
And that's outside of, I got a lake house out in Kansas. I know they sell it there. So if I want Benjamin Moore, to me,
he's
that's the only two
he's my
places.
customer. He gets it all from us.
That's the only
Yeah.
two places I know that I can get Benjamin Moore is Hadlock's.
Our business, you know, we're a family-owned business, we're fourth generation, we're 103 years old, so our name is worth something, you know. But, you know, the world has changed. At one time, you know, we were primarily a distributor. We serviced over 100 Martin Senior and Dutch Boy dealers was the lines we carried. Of those 100 stores that we serviced in western and central New York, one of them is still in business. Rochester used to have over 200 hardware stores. Today, there's 5. So, you know, that's been the history of independent, we call them mom and pop paint and hardware stores. There aren't any left. So is our name, you know, important when back then, you know, in Rochester, there was Shaheen's and Moran's and a whole bunch? Sure it was. Today, you know, Benjamin Moore is more important than ever because they, you know, it's Sherwin-Williams, PPG, and Benjamin Moore, and that's it. For independent dealers, Benjamin Moore it's in the United States today, you're either a Benjamin Moore dealer or you wish you could become one, because I literally don't know who's in second place, because it just doesn't matter. There is no other paint line in the United States today sold by independents that is worth anything anymore.
20-mile radius of you, who else sells Benjamin Moore?
Our biggest competitor and very, very good friend is Mayer Hardware. Recently, Benjamin Moore became the exclusive supplier to all Ace Hardware stores. That's why we opened an Ace Hardware store in Pittsburgh. There are 2 Ace Hardware stores, one in Honeyett Falls, one in Fairport. They get to sell some Benjamin Moore products. But hardware stores and paint stores are different. We don't really consider hardware stores to be competitors. Mayer Hardware has had Benjamin Moore longer than we have, and the ultimate compliment is that we consider them to be a paint store competitor because they are that good. So that's it. It's us and Mayer's. And so we're the largest Benjamin Moore dealer in upstate New York, and we're the largest Benjamin Moore distributor in the United States, but that's just because there really aren't very many of them. We're kind of unique in that situation. So the guy in Lakeville gets all his paint from me, for example.
That helps. Good.
Yeah.
Other questions?
Yeah, 10 years ago, when you put the original Benjamin Moore sign on, did anyone from the town stop by, call you, anything like that?
I've never had to appear before any town in my lifetime, so
Okay.
no.
I mean, I know, obviously, we're looking at the sign as it is now and not how it was, et cetera,
Yeah.
how it meets the code, whatever.
no.
But, you know, I guess now we've got maybe a more vigilant code department than we did 10 years ago. But it's been there for 10 years. You can't tell me code enforcement from our town didn't drive up and down 96 all the time. Some of us have been on this board for more than 10 years, so.
The only guy I've ever,
Know where to file complaints, so I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, the fire
or at least the
marshal's the only guy
criteria
I've
does.
ever had a relationship with, and we get along great.
I think I'm all in favor for it. I'm hopeful that you're back on December 4th.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
Good. Anything else for us?
No.
Good. We'll see you on the 4th.
All right, I have to sign your book. I didn't.
Good, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Ed, anything for us? All right. Adam, anything?
Just to comment on this, you know, they needed a permit, why I stopped. The main reason, you know, having the record for the variance is because of the amount of applications that you guys
Yeah.
have been getting. And other applicants want to see the history of signs that exist when they want the same thing. And so I feel like it's the responsibility of the zoning board to go through the motion, either approve or deny the variance, then there's that record of it for the next applicant that comes and wants to put Nike or whatever other brand on their sign. That's all.
I vote that we call the earth stable and the top of the bushes unstable and can't use them. You had that in your comments. What do we go by, the top of the flowers or the ground?
Well, yeah, he indicated that they wanted to put shrubs in, and it was a determination made by the zoning board that a monument sign was defined as no more than one, the lowest portion of the sign would be no greater than 1 foot above adjacent grade. So I said, if you want to count bushes as adjacent grade, that's your determination to make.
I think it looks nice with the stuff underneath.
Yeah, those all blew over.
It's like the first one tonight. I'm just trying to find something unique about it that's not just, I feel safe and I really like how it looks and my customers like how it looks. That's it. I just want the applicants to tell me what's unique about it.
He did tell you the first one.
No, he didn't.
He told
That's
you
just my opinion. He didn't.
I don't,
Even in the
safety
writing,
is a
he didn't tell me.
feeling though. And he
Okay.
said people are driving up to the thing and turning around there.
People turn in my driveway all the time too. Like I get it. I'd love to know really how many people that is and is it unsafe or not. They're not going 65 miles an hour down his driveway. So I'm
I've
just,
seen in New Rochelle across the street from me, and it was just a circular, you know, wasn't the houses like
If-
here.
again, if
Somebody I
someone's
saw go fast
flying
could
around
kill
his,
somebody.
not in his driveway.
In the driveway, I'm
In
telling you.
his driveway.
Drove right through,
In
you know,
his
a circular.
driveway.
Stop,
And
stop.
it was a neighbor.
Time
down
out,
the
time out,
street.
time out,
his
time out. Sorry,
driveway.
sorry, people. Let's stick to the point. New Rochelle, all due respect, has nothing to do with
Right.
Victor.
No, I
Right.
was
It-
just
it
talking
doesn't.
about driveways.
Doesn't. All right, his best line is to say this structure is not going to change the character of the
Right.
neighborhood and focus on
He should
that.
focus on telling us, I took down 2 structures in the front of the building came down and this came down. So just let me have this damn fence as a structure.
He
I would've
did
bet-
say
I would've-
that.
No, he didn't. We said a lot of things for him. I need him to tell us what he's really.
said it, and he said it
didn't.
in
It's
writing.
The first thing he says is safety.
Yeah,
The whole
you're
thing is
harping
about
on the
safety.
thing that he cares about the most.
I know, but okay, I'm done.
He doesn't go on about safety in the document.
Of course he does. I read it. Safety's the first 2 sentences. I read it.
Security,
Okay, security, sorry. Read it, if you want to read it out loud.
All right, we are charged with whether we grant a variance or deny it. If a court ever looks at our review, they're gonna look at what the justification was. And if we start saying safety, 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 it's gonna get overturned.
Right.
Yeah, but the paper
I want both these
shows-
applicants to get what they want, but I'm just trying to say, they've got to really tell us how it pertains to the code.
Yeah, but we've got 2 records. We've got what he says here in person and also what he's sent physically in his paper application. In his paper application and tonight, he said it. Did he go on about one specific asset that he was very emotional and felt was very important to him? Yes, but he did also bring up all of the other factors.
And in the justifications, that with the resolution eventually, I have to sign for the board, safety cannot be in any part of those justifications.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, but just because he brought it up doesn't mean it has to be in the, in the variance if we grant it.
True.
I should keep this stuff for next time.
All right. Anything else? Entertain a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, so move.
Thank you. Any opposition? Great, thanks so much. Have a great night. Thanks, everyone.
Interests want the fence too, remember that whole fiasco in Cobblestone?